Does anybody out there believe anything that this guy Shakur Stevenson says? I mean, seriously. So there's this interview where he's like naming all of these lightweight fighters, right? How he could beat, how he could beat Gervonta Davis, how he could beat Lomachenko, how a couple of fighters at 140, how Matias is a hard fight, and Haney and Ryan Garcia. He's fluctuating from 135 to 140. First of all, we know that he's not going to move up to 140, not anytime soon. So we know that's cap. We know that's cap. We know that he's probably not going to fight any of those guys at 140, especially the punchers, right? Because we've seen his last fight. Now, I made a video on this guy already with this same topic, and that was like last year. And here we are, once again, Shakur Stevenson just talking, has no plans of fighting anyone of significance, right? He doesn't have any plans on fighting anyone. I don't know who's controlling his career. I don't know what plans they have for Shakur Stevenson other than he's the WBC champion. And I don't know which champion. Is he the WBC regular? Is he the WBC interim? I have no idea because there's so many champions. But do we really have champions at 135? This is why I don't fall for the narrative of the four-belt era narrative where, ooh, he's an undisputed champion in the four-belt era. Ooh, he's a unified champion at the four-belt era. They throw this narrative out there to make it seem like it's just so much harder to become a champion in a four-belt era, as if all those four champions all recycled and fought each other. That's not the case. That's not the case at all, right? You can look at the heavyweight landscape. All the champions didn't fight each other. They didn't. So stop with this narrative four-belt era and all this. Crawford was undisputed in the first all four-belt era. Canelo in the full belt. Stop. It doesn't make any of these accomplishments better than the past fighters, because that's what you new boxing fans are trying to do. And here at the MOBC, we're not going to have that. Because in my opinion, there is no champion in this era until there's one. There's only one champion right now, and that's Usyk, the undisputed champion. There's only another one, Inoue, undisputed champion. Canelo, he's about to get stripped. But before that, he was a champion. Crawford is a champion. None of these guys, and here at the MOBC, we only want to see one champion. The lightweight division has 4 belt holders right now. Okay? 4 belt holders. Vasily Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and Denny Baranchyk, who I believe is probably going to get ducked. Denny's Baranchyk is probably going to get ducked, or somehow they're not going to be able to do negotiations for whatever. I have a feeling maybe Lomachenko might fight this guy. I have no idea. But if he's not popular, you could best believe Shakur Stevenson or Gervonta Davis is not going to fight this guy. We also know that Gervonta Davis is not going to fight Lomachenko until he turns 40 years old. Okay? Shakur Stevenson's probably not going to fight Gervonta Davis, probably not going to fight Lomachenko, probably not going to fight Denis Baranchyk. Okay? So we have this whole plethora of champions in the 135-pound division. But guess what? They're not fighting each other. Don't sit there, you boxing fans out there and you boxing channels. Don't sit there and say, oh, the 135-pound division is stacked. There's no division stacked until they're fighting each other. Okay? You only can say a division is stacked when they're actually fighting each other and we're seeing the fights happen and we're seeing the fights take place. All right? The Navarrete wasn't going to never fight Gervonta Davis or Stevenson, because they weren't going to fight Navarrete. They just wasn't. It's a good thing that someone like Denis went and fought him and won. It's a close fight, but he won. He got the win. Can you imagine that? You had a whole skilled fighter in Navarrete was probably never going to fight Shakur Stevenson or Gervonta. But now that he's lost, now that he took an L, now that he look quote unquote beatable, they might fight him. But I can guarantee you they're probably not going to fight Denny's. And we got this guy over here, Shakur Stevenson, the Cat Master, in this interview like he's just some unstoppable force, like he could beat everybody at 140 and he could beat everybody at 135. That remains to be seen. Because guess what? You have to prove it. In your last fight, you fought a puncher who hasn't knocked out anyone worth talking about. But he's this big puncher, right? And all you did was run. And all the other guy did was not swing. So we had one of the most boring fights in the history of boxing in this modern day era where you athletes are supposedly bigger, stronger, and faster and the greatest athletes ever. Give me a break. Because if that was Boom Boom Mancini in there with Shakur Stevenson, or I can't ever remember the other guy's name who wasn't throwing no punches. If that was Boom Boom Mancini at 135 or Alexis Arguello at 135, someone would have got knocked out because those two guys would have pressed the fight and Shakur Stevenson would have got knocked out and so would the other guy would have got knocked out. Greg Haugen would have came in there and made a fight. He would have made you fight. He would have made Shakur Stevenson fight. That's the 135 pounders that I grew up watching, and that's that I know, and that most real boxing fans know. Not guys who are throwing one or two punches around. This whole lightweight division is in shambles right now because no one wants to fight each other. And we got 4 belt holders. In my opinion, for this 4-belt era, my own personal narrative, I don't believe there is a champion until there is one champion. All you guys coming around here saying, I'm a world champion, I'm a world champion. Who's a world champion? I'm a world champion. Well, what about the other guy that's holding the belt? So who is the real true champion? The only champion that I know in this whole boxing community, this boxing world, is us guys streaming his fights for free. Those are the only real champions. We are all undisputed in streaming these fights because none of these guys is worth paying for. 4 champions in the division. Give me a break. Talking about, oh, this is the 4-belt era. This is the 4-belt era. We got a whole bunch of champions here. This is the MOBC, my own boxing community. The MOBC Rant.